Welcome to Automotive Madness, and in today's video, we have purchased a new car. And this one is starting to make me question my sanity a bit, because it is a 1972 Citroen SM, Franco-Italian luxury supercar Grand Tour, or whatever you want to call it. And she is rough. Let's take a look at it so we can show you exactly what I'm talking about. Alright, I'm just going to get this out of the way right now. The magic number that I have paid for this car is $500. See what you can get for $500 nowadays, you're not going to get much. So, in the grand scheme of things, it's not that bad, but you'll see exactly what I'm talking about when I say, this is one of the worst cars I have ever bought. And I'm stuck in the car now. The door handle doesn't work. First glance of the car, it doesn't actually look that bad for $500. I mean, you got surface rust, of course. You got Bondo, like, quite a bit of Bondo. Like, worse than a certain Porsche 944 Bondo. I mean, look at this. I can pick the car up with the I can pick the hood up with the Bondo. The windshield has certain issues that make it slightly unusable. The side of the car is also not in the best of condition. But for $500, you can see it's not actually that bad. When we get to the driver's side of the car, though, that's when things really start to go downhill, as our door has been smashed in, and our fender is kind of starting to rot off because how rotted and pushed in it is from the door. The rear end is missing its trim, but for $500, you know, you can't really beat that. Now it's time to get to the real problem area of the car, which is the chassis. Because unlike a Citroen DS, the body is somewhat integral to the chassis of the car. So if we take a look down at the rockers, there's absolutely nothing left on both sides of the bottom. It is being held together by the very thick topper of the rocker that protrudes into the interior, but other than that, this thing feels as though it's going to break in half. Before you ask, no, these are not Euro-spec headlights on the front end. They are plexiglass covers, which have stained and fogged up to the point where they are practically unusable, but they still look very interesting. The front valence is completely shot and falling off, so that is an added bonus. For the structure and the body of the car, I'll give it a 1. If we look at the interior of the vehicle, things start to go uphill slightly, believe it or not. Yes, the hand-stitched leather seats are completely shot, but there is a good base here to reupholster them, except on this driver's seat, which, yeah, it snapped off from rust down here, so this will have to be replaced. The dashboard is relatively complete, and it has a very nice brushed copper finish, which I really like that finish. The one-spoke Citroen steering wheel is finished off with a sport grip, very 1972 of the car, and attached to the steering wheel is the Duravi steering box, which is a self-centering, variable power steering system that uses 2 turns lock-to-lock to turn the car. So, even with the ignition unlocked, this is extremely hard to turn, but that's not helping because the tires are flat. Also, with the ignition here, this is the first car I've ever bought, I think, other than my Pontiac Solstice and Pontiac Aztec, that had the original key in it, and it's a Citroen folding key. Very nice, very high quality, believe it or not. It's 50 years old, it hasn't broken yet. And this is so you don't hit your knee on the key, because it is in very close proximity to your knee. Down here to the side, we have a 5-speed manual transmission. It is a good feeling transmission, although sometimes it doesn't want to slot into gear, which is a bit unusual, but it's been sitting for 30 years, what would I expect? The door panels are quite unusual, as they do have a glove box in each side. And I don't just mean in these door panels on each side, there's ones in the back too. Each of the back has a glove box in the door panel, as well as their own separate ashtrays, finished, again, in the copper. Also going with ashtrays is a front ashtray. Here in the front ashtray, we have a sliding plastic box, which is quite unusual. I really like it. And next to the sliding plastic ashtray is the handbrake. The handbrake does not have a ratchet to it. it just works. There is no very annoying, screaming, scraping noise that comes from this handbrake. It just works. And up above the handbrake, we have the 2 power window switches, which are broken, of course. What's quite interesting to me is the Citroen SM is a hatchback. Now, I do need a doorknob to open the hatch because the hatch is locked, and if you hit it at just the right frequency, it unlatches. There we go. Hatchback, we have various pieces, various under the hood pieces, like the only thing that's missing under the hood. And we've got various trim pieces like this, which is unfortunately broken. Don't know where I'm going to find another one of those. But it's there. And I like the hatch still works. These struts stay up after 50 years. I've had cars that are 5 years old that don't even work. Under here is the reason I bought the car, the drivetrain. Let's take a look at the motor. Under the hood is a 2.7-liter Maserati V6 making 170 horsepower and propelling this massive front-wheel drive car up to 140 miles per hour. When this came out, it was the fastest front-wheel drive car in the world. Now, you may say this looks a bit complicated, and you'd be right, but here's the thing. This is complete. Everything is here. You see this rod that's missing? That's really the only piece missing? It's in the hatch. It was in the hatch when I opened the trunk. Look at this. It's somewhat hard to work on, but I've gone through this stuff already. I know how it works. And, as a bonus, the motor turns over. So the motor's not locked up. This is about a $1,500 to $2,500 motor because it turns over. The transmission alone is $1,500 if I were to sell it. But the mere fact that everything is complete is what really drives this for me, is why I bought it, because all of this is really hard to find and really expensive. And let's just get into why I wanted all of this anyway. Now, obviously, this body is not going to be saved. This is completely shot. But for $1,000, the guy I got this off of has not 1, not 2, but 3 very solid shells without drivetrains. And since this drivetrain turns over, I know it's going to be okay. So what we're going to do is we're going to take the drivetrain out of it and swap it into a good body and use that, because everything is complete up there and everything more or less is complete inside. It just needs to be reworked. So we're just going to make 1 good SM out of 2, and for $1,500 I'll have a rather nice luxury car that's really hard to get a hold of. So that's my plan with the Citroen SM. What do you think? Do you think I'm an absolute idiot, or do you think I'm a genius on this? I'm more inclined to say I'm an idiot on this, but I'm curious to see what you think. Go comment your hate comments below on why I'm so stupid. Thanks for watching.